So I haven't done a video for quite a while. Been play testing some of the Italian War rules with Pike and Shot, with some addendums from a chap called Olicana, and a friend of ours, Brian Horrocks, who's been playing the Pike and Shot rules for quite a while. So yeah, there's some good developments broadly across the two. And from Chris Cornwell's experience, the bits and pieces he's been reading. I say bits and pieces, that sounds a bit flippant. Chris is very knowledgeable about the subject, so I shouldn't be quite so dismissive, but we are good friends, we're just having a bit of a laugh. So we thought we'd do a bit of an attack scenario. So we've got the Italian battaglia here, pressing into the attack with the French. The village is just holding on here at the front. This village is about to be attacked. We've got the Swiss over there in reserve. I'll just show you those. So we've got essentially one battalion there of Swiss in reserve, who are about to launch into the Colonella. I'll show you the Colonella in a moment. This is a big old duff up with the cavalry in the middle. France and Spain's flower of youth, not necessarily sensibility, but certainly flower of youth, that crashed together. The large French gendarme unit got a bit of a pasting, lost 4 casualties in the first round, while the smaller Spanish knights lost only 1. But across here, a little bit more dramatic. The Spanish crashed in, did 4 casualties, while the gendarmes did 5. There was a draw, but because the poor old Spaniards were shaken, they had to take a test. So it's a great test, and unfortunately Chris rolled 4 for the test. So away they've gone. The guys behind are retiring, as is the small Italian supporting unit over here. So those chaps are going to go back behind the wood. And then if we come across here, you can see we've got the Spaniards over on the end there. We come along to the Landsknets in the French pay. They've been facing off against their counterparts in the imperialist camp. Come down this way. Get a view from the front of these. Thanks, Chris. And then we've got some Papal Guard, a rather nice little unit. Could you straighten those chaps up?
Which ones?
Those chaps.
Straight papes. There we go.
There we go. So these are very nice. And it's steel fist did the dollies for the bodies, was it?
A mixture of tag, the assault group figures mixed with some Perry figures and some steel fist dollies with Perry heads and arms and weapons, and then a lot of green stuff.
Oh, excellent.
And flags by Pete.
Pete's flags. And then we have some more frontals of the Spaniards. All the French, well I say all, the majority of the French gendarmes that are fighting here were actually renovated by my buddy Mr. Ketteringham, Fraser Ketteringham, otherwise known as VK von Ketteringham on YouTube, as I'm sure most of you guys will know. If you haven't had a look at his blog, his YouTube, you should. It's exceptionally good. We've got some guns in positions over there. Who's the manufacturer of the gabions, Chris?
They were debris of war.
Debris of war, that's it. Nice people, great products. I mean, they paint up really well. Chris has done a great job with those. And then we come across to the Colonella. Now this is a point where we've debated how we actually do the colonellas. At the moment, they create 3 separate units, each a colonella in its own right, with a couple of supporting sword and bucklermen behind, and a Stradiot unit, or the Jeanettes, on the flank here. So Chris and I have debated. There's statements from either camp about whether the sword and bucklerman and pike create the colonella, while the arquebus creates units of arquebus to support the colonella as such, but still be called the colonella within a battalion as such. So you'd have one unit with 20 figures, a number of them being pikemen, a number of being sword and bucklermen, and then a separate unit of arquebus, but they manoeuvre as one battalion, and thus you still get the same effect of the colonella, but more units to manoeuvre. Whereas as it is now, it's just one block. So essentially it's easier to manoeuvre. You're only going to be rolling the one command roll as it stands right now. And as these are relatively new, the paint's still drying on one of the colonellas, as it were, for a few days. But certainly they look great, absolutely tip top. Try not to get the shadow in there. And the flags are all by Pete's flags again, or is it a mixture? Flags of war?
Yeah, flags of war and Pete's flags mixture. Figures are again assault group and some foundry from their conquistadors range.
Sorry chaps, I'm at arm's length here. Sorry.
And a few Perry, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh no, not many Perry. Nearly all.
And again, more casting room miniatures in the Jeanettes and flags of war. Now what Chris does here is he takes the striped flags of war and cuts them into thinner strips where you still get the bands. So that black and yellow flag essentially would be part of a taller flag with 4 bands on it per se, but still quite effective. I like it. There might be an idea I've nicked off him. And then we come across, these are some of the older manufacturer figure that we've got within the War Games Holiday Centre. It's certainly worth looking at some of these commanders. These chaps very nice. Are they all tag?
No, they're Steel Fist and Foundry.
No, I beg your pardon. So the standard bearer is Foundry? Oh no.
Yeah, standard bearer's Foundry and...
The 2 guys are Steel Fist?
No.
No.
No, the dismounted gendarme is Steel Fist.
This guy?
And the other 2 are Foundry.
Oh, very nice. Excellent. And then I just placed the commander out of range now. That's a very cunning ploy on my part. And there's a very old unit that we've got from the centre, which is the Bandineri, which is obviously the black band. And they've all been tarted up in black, so they're very dour looking. We do some revamping of those chaps. Some more flags from Pete's flags on our Hinchliffe crossbowmen. And then we've got some arquebusier crossbowmen. Sorry about waving it around, I've got it on the end of a selfie stick. In my book, it's the only really good reason for having a selfie stick, is so that I can reach and video and photograph the front of the units that are sitting in the opponent's half of the table. And I'm not showing you all the cabin because we've got a big pile of boxes over there behind Chris, which has got a lot of stuff, so it looks a bit of a mess. But this bit's good. Some of the old Theatre Gilder buildings for the Italian wars and the Peninsula. Just boxes of hollow boxes of Dela artboard with cast windows, etc. That's my dog making that noise, in case anyone wondered. So there we go. I hope you enjoy it, chaps. And the next video will be mid-Jan. I've got General d'Armée planned for the 14th of January. So we're going to be fighting the Battle of Dresden. I'll see you all then.